Whoa, no, that's not supposed to happen. Automatic. That work better? Maybe. All right. So we're working in a slightly different learning context than ours was, but otherwise very similar analysis that we're trying to do. So we're trying to understand what promotions mean within the learning community. And it's a bit important to understand how we do things differently. So we're doing it in a blogging environment, and the blog posts that people make are actually homework. So a student posts his blog post, and because it's a blog post, everyone can read it. And they post it before the due date, everyone can read it. Everyone can learn from it and adapt their own and post improvements on their own blog post up until the deadline. So it's a slightly different format, which is important to keep in mind when going over the data here. So I'm starting off with some introduction about what we're actually looking at with the promotions, explain the case study, and go over the data that we have. So within this blogging environment, we can read each other's work, and we add the feature that people can like another person's homework assignment. So it's basically a like button, and there are also like different types of like buttons that we call badges. So that might be a good question, nicely written, like some definition of what kind of like it is. We want to determine if the high quality content is the promoted content. We don't know. We don't really know beforehand if the students will actually be able to find the best stuff in the entire blogosphere. We also want to determine if the high quality content is more likely to be promoted. It's a slightly different measure. And then we want to formulate some best practice response to this analysis. So it's a case study, and it's a class on Internet and Society. We have 4 books that we read over the course, and people make 2 blog posts on each book. One is an editorial on a specific issue, and another is a review of the entire book. Each student has his or her own blog, just like a normal blog environment. However, there is like an index, a viewpoint, where you can see everyone's blog posts in a reverse chronological order with those specific promotions as icons denoting how many likes, badges, comments, and such each blog post has. And here, again, it's important that everyone can read each other's assignment. Up until the deadline, after the deadline, whatever, the assignments actually go in a kind of cycle. So you do an editorial on the first book, you do an editorial on the second book. That means you can go back to the first editorial from all people and adapt to the schema or like how they set up their assignments and learn from that and improve. More than that, they also need to use the data that they create in the blog posts for their term project. And thirdly, they also need to do it in another set of reflective posts, which brings together the issues from all of these books in a new type of assignment later in the semester. So we give them a template for their blog posts. Here is like first explain the issue, bring out examples from the book or quotes from other blog posts, and then finally draw a conclusion based on the issue and examples that you give. And that's your that's a basic format of how you're supposed to construct your argument from the issue to the conclusion. And we emphasize that people give feedback, and we actually require a minimum of to comment on 2 other blog posts in the course of the week after you've made your own blog post. So you have to go in and make comments, but you're not required to do likes or give badges and stuff like that. That's completely voluntarily. So the easy thing about the promotions, it's just one click. It's different from comments, which you have to put your thoughts into words, and that's a heavy cognitive load process of doing it, editing it, but a simple one click is some sort of indication of appreciation. There's incentive to create these badges because they show up in the viewpoint, in the default viewpoint, where you see all the blog posts and you see the different types of likes or promotions. And like I described, they have different kind of icons depending on what they are, like a question mark if it's a good question and stuff like that. But the like is like a general overarching, I just like it. Do we know what it means? Does it mean it's good quality? Let's see. So anyway, we have 3 questions. Do people actually promote? Sure, yeah, they seem to be promoting. Is it enough? That's another question. Do they act upon the promotions from other students? And as you can see in the graph here, the more promotions that a post gets, the more reads it also gets. So of course this is totaled up. So at some point, a post that got 6 or more promotions had no promotions. So someone had to go in there first, like it got more reads because of that, generated more promotions, and they act on it. Now, this wouldn't be really important unless they're actually good posts. So we have to ask the question, are the posts that are getting the most promotions, are they actually of good quality? Right, so before I answer that, there's the transition of the technology that we've been using. So first, we use this basic blog format and created the viewpoint, and people could comment. It was a very basic blog format. But we added these social features that we're used to in social networks nowadays. So there's a transition from a collaborative blogging, like we called it before, to a social blogging. And it's a small distinction, but I kind of like it. On how we evaluated if a post was of good quality or not, that was basically in the hands of the TAs with grading the post. We had a very simple grading scheme, basically not completed, good, not good, good work, and exceeds expectations. And each post had a questionnaire, which was like a series of 6 questions, where each question was answered with this simple grading scheme. So it was a very coarse grading scheme, and it wasn't really prone to grading errors or miscommunication of anything like that. We had a specialized grading view within the system, so people weren't, the graders weren't influenced by the number of likes or anything or comments that the post had accrued as far. We also had peer reviews. The students actually got, in addition to doing comments, they got a part of the questionnaire which they answered themselves. So they had 3 questions to answer. And all in all, we had a lot of students, and this means there was a lot of work that had to be graded. There was, yeah, there's a lot of work to do. So let's step into the evaluation part. Right. So this is data from the first 10 assignments. The last assignment was an outlier because it's close to exams. It's the last assignment, so there was no incentive of you having to build upon it in later assignment, really, because it's gone. We had to filter out some of the students from the data because some did the first assignment and quit the course, or for some other reasons that would have been handled differently anyway outside the system. Right, so this is what I'm trying to, the argument I'm trying to make. Students actively promote posts as they read in the blogosphere. That's what we want to see. We also want them to promote the high quality material, because that's very important to go back and for the term project, you have 100,000 words a week or so. you have 100 posts a week or so. It's a lot of content to go through if you want to find a reference to something that you find important for your term project. So going through only the posts that were promoted, and hopefully them being quality posts, is very, very important. We find that students are reliable. So in different ways. Some students are better promoters than other students. Students are sometimes poor promoters. They reliably promote actually bad content, which is interesting. We did not expect that. Students also become better at promoting as the semester progresses. The people that are poor promoters, they're fewer. And the people that are good promoters, they get more numerous. And the best practice part that we want to pick up on is how we are going to use these promotions. We can use them, for example, as highlighting mechanisms within the blogosphere, in a similar fashion as we're doing now with just marking that they're liked and stuff like that. But we can also give a specialized view as hints. Here, you should read this post. You should read that post. Basically. Because they're also tagged, so you have a content reference as well. And we can also use them as like preliminary assessments for graders, basically for verification purposes instead of actual grading. So you can give them a bunch of what the community thinks is high quality, and the grader can just go through and verify instead of actually grading. So we can rely on the community to actually do the grading. The promotion feature was used by quite a lot of people. Almost 90% of the students used it at least once. They did not promote every single post in every single assignment, and there's a decline in the number of promotions as you go throughout the semester. Their interest in basically the course, I guess there was a similar graph yesterday in a presentation where they start off very enthusiastic, then like level off in the middle half, and then there is close to final exams, and they're busy with other stuff. And the 9 and 10, that's where we're going into the reflection part, and we basically finished making all of the content that you need for your term project. So it's again not as important. So a higher quality posts, they did get more promotions. And that's basically the number of promotions per post. Higher quality posts were also more likely to get promoted. So I'll have some graphs on that I hope to explain. And then all types of promotions, both the badges and general likes, were useful. So the first one is the number of promotions per post. So this is basically the grade distribution. There is so a post normally got a grade of 12, which is basically an answer of 2, which is, it's a good post with on all of the 6 questions. So that's why it's slightly skewed. It's not like very prettily normally distributed. It's basically a feature of the course grading mechanism and the 6 questions. But however, as you can see, you have the blue line, which is the number of posts. The yellow line, the posts not promoted. So across the entire range of posts that you have, there are always posts that miss out. There are some posts in the high quality range which do not get promoted. It's basically a miss rate. However, as you go for higher quality, you have this shaded area here, which is the difference between the number of posts and the number of promotions. So once you get into the high quality area, the number of promotions just like skyrocket. People are actually promoting each of the high quality posts a lot more frequently than they're promoting lower quality posts. Right, this is the hit rate I was talking about. So the higher quality posts were more likely to get promoted than lower quality posts. This means that of lower quality posts, the ones that did not get promoted, they're misses, basically. It's the ratio here. Only very few low-quality posts were promoted, but of those, they might have gotten a few promotions each, but they were not as numerous. So that's the process of going through and reaching the high-quality content. Now, all promotions were useful. Not all were significantly useful, but all were above average. So the general likes were basically a good predictor of a high grade. This is the average grade of a liked post, the average grade of a nicely written post, so on. So all promotions were considered to be useful for the purposes of seeing the list of posts and picking out. So I want to read actually the ones that are promoted because they are useful. And finally, we have to draw some conclusions. We have to get the data, and now what can we do, or what can we do in terms of feedback to the student? So this is a bit complicated, so let's try to explain this. The blue and orange lines are basically arbitrary lines that I made up, telling that everything below 8 would be a poor quality post. Everything above the blue line would be a high quality post. And the black dots are where students lie between their own grade and the grade of whatever they promoted. Okay, so there's this guy way up there in the 18. He promoted only posts that got the highest grade. But his grade was about average. So he's really good at finding good posts, but he's not a very good writer. So I, as an instructor, can say like, oh, that's interesting. I need to help you with your writing skills. There's something missing in there. You're finding all the good stuff. You know how to, like, where that is and how other people do it, but you can't express it yourself. There's the same thing happens is there's a student that writes very good posts. No, sorry, writes very good posts, but promotes on average just average posts or even bad posts, which is the lowest one over here. And you can go ask him and like, are you promoting, like, are these your friends? Are you promoting them just because they're friends? Could you please stop that? It's not really helpful. It's misinformation. So the instructor has the ability to read from the entire range of students, like pick out what's his actual skill in identifying good content versus producing good content. And that gives you an insight into how you go in and talk to him about what's going on in the blogosphere and in the knowledge community. Right, so we can filter content based on student promotions. We can use it to automatically highlight quality content in the blogosphere, and we can use it to give some sort of sorting for verification for assessment. We see that students identify high quality content using these promotions, using these social features. And this self-identification, to us, it wasn't automatic. In a sense of a social network, you know that it's whatever you like in your social network, it's your opinion. It doesn't necessarily qualify as a high quality content for other people. So can we take this subjective measurement and apply it objectively for everyone? And that's what the data seems to, like on average, seems to be able to do. And we take this subjective evaluation into account, and when we get back to the student, and we can give him targeted feedback based on his position in regards to other students. Right, that's again. So, questions?
How was the exercise set up to handle the timing issue? Because it strikes me that you could...
Sorry, could you go again in there? There was a noise here.
How was the exercise set up to handle the timing issue? Because
which timing issue?
The timing of the blog posts and the promotion by the students.
Oh, so once the assignment is out, people can just start writing and posting their assignment. They can go in and edit it again, and any time you can like whatever it's already on the in the blogosphere. So for us, we take this afterwards. So like after the class is done, we go in and analyze the likes, and the like spikes of liking. They're always close to, and in the week basically after assignment is due, which is the commenting and review period. Yay.
I was going to ask if, you know, in this kind of social network, like sometimes the initial likes, they have a disproportionate effect on, and sometimes they're just random and then it's this kind of a preferential attachment kind of effect. So I was just wondering if you thought about the effects of random variations at the very beginning, kind of skewing the results.
So we had some, I remember one example, which there was a post which was basically blank, and it got a like and all kinds of badges. So there was someone who just went in and did all of it, just for fun. But the amount of we didn't filter that out. It was in the data, and still this is how the data looks like. So that basically, I think, filters it out automatically. We didn't have to take that into consideration. No, use this. I have a bad ear. Ouch, ouch, ouch.
You hear me now? Okay. So do you take any precautions to avoid any sort of bandwagon effects? So basically, a lot of people creating posts and then advertising them in a way, and then asking other students to sort of like them.
Nope, nothing like that.
Because that would be something, so in social networks, that's something very, very, very common. So, it's the first person to write, that's the first people that gets noted and whatnot. So
we did not see anything like that happen, and we didn't go into any sort of prevention methods to have that. It was completely organic. People, like, we might have wanted more people actually to go in and do promotions. Not all use the promotion feature. Some people only used it once during the entire semester. So, I mean, no, we did not see that effect happening, and we go in and we grade the work overall, and it just seemed to work out nicely. In some cases, yes, definitely that could happen. In this case, you only made one blog post per assignment. So there was no chit-chat blog posts that were in the system as well. These were only assignment-related blog posts. Early lunch.
Hi, Naomi Jeffrey, Open University. Am I right in reading that you're judging the quality of the post purely by the grade it received? Or did you have other kind of measures of quality of post?
No, the quality of post is measured by the graders in the grade they received. The graders and the instructor met weekly to go over a few posts and grade them together to get a consensus. And it was a very it's the same scheme, editorial review. So the graders on their second term of grading together even, we were very in communication and in agreement. And with a course grading scheme, it was really difficult to get from a 2 to a 3 or to a one. There was a very clear distinction if a post like fell into which category a post fell into. So,
okay, is it possible that what you're seeing when you find a correlation between the number of promotions and the grade received, is it possible that what you're looking at is that students actually just have a really good understanding of what's going to get them a good grade?
So that they basically adhere to our like scheme of sure, of course, but we that's a part of our quality standard. We measure out how clearly they state their issue, how clearly it's written. That it's a part of the grading standard, of course. But there's also an overall grade which comes into effect, because there was, in my opinion, as grading it, even though you set up the post very nicely, you could still easily babble that made no sense, and then the post didn't get a good grade, even though you were correctly set up and everything like that. That doesn't automatically happen, so.
Okay, so thank you very much, and I guess we get lunch now.